Phil Cohen here, Cohen on Content. Here we go again. I got Ken Goldberg. Ken Goldberg, Neocast, Real Digital. You know what? Just Ken Goldberg.
Well, thanks, Phil.
Yeah.
Nice
So,
to see you.
did you really talk Crawford into going with the Red Sox to hurt the Tampa Bay and to hurt the Yankees at the same time?
I wish I could take credit for that, but yeah, he'll do. He'll do. He'll play a while.
These Red Sox guys. Ken.
Yes.
I keep hearing technology. There's all new technology. This guy's got one, that guy's got one, another guy's got one. You're on top of all this stuff. You're on the board, Digital Signage Federation, you're a speaker, you're a blogger, you do all of these things. You get a lot of advanced preview. My question is any of this stuff going to help us deliver our content? Is it going to help us be more effective in getting our content delivered? Is it going to help us be more effective in developing recall amongst the viewers? Can we bill better? Can we get paid better? What do you say?
I think it's, well, I say maybe. And here's the issue, Phil. I think the basic problem, the basic premise of digital signage was solved a long time ago, which is taking content and delivering it to a disparate network, a geographically dispersed network efficiently, and playing it out.
Right, okay.
Playing a media file is not that tough. Distributing content, not that tough. There's some nuance to it, and there's some science to it. But in the end, those problems have been solved. So now we're having feature race. And I like to say that features are now dead. And instead of...
Here's a feature race, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so features, or what I would say bells and whistles, because I'm not smart enough to say features. The bells and whistles are these things, and there's a race.
Sure, well, it's really driven by the market because no one wants to have a price war, so they want to have a feature war. My feature's better than your feature, or I do this, you don't do that. And yes, all products have features. I don't care if it's a bar of soap or if it's digital signage software. I guess the point is, I think what customers are looking for are outcomes. And what's the outcome that I want? I have a problem. How do we solve it? And so sometimes technology is the answer. Sometimes execution is the answer. But you say, how do we make people recall content better using technology? Well, I would say it's garbage in, garbage out.
Okay.
So it's about the content production.
I don't have the authorization to release the names with the numbers yet. But, we're doing that panel tomorrow. With the cross-channel marketing plan for... What we had Arbitron do is give us a recall study on products or that ran television commercials on our networks. And they were great. Super Bowl was 12%. We're turning one company in, or a cereal company in at 18%. We're turning another one in, over the counter, at 19%. A retail chain at 30%. But then the content people said, let us produce a couple of commercials specifically for the medium and see what that does. So three very large advertisers with very large agencies had them do that. There was no difference in the technology.
Right.
But our recall went to 58% on 2 out of the 3 and 47% on the third. That's craziness. You don't have that. So we're delivering it, and now that we know, tweak the content. Don't use television content in digital signage. Okay, but that's what we do. What's coming out with all of these companies that can smarten us all up and help us do that, or help us report that?
Well, and that's the good question, and I think a couple of things are coming along, because if we get smart about the content and you can create something with 55% recall rate, now I want to know how many people saw it that I'm multiplying by 55%, because that's how we get paid.
Right.
So a couple of things come to mind. Obviously, anything that has to do with audience metrics, measuring the audience size, traffic, a lot of talk about AVA. There'll be an Intel pitch tomorrow talking about their technology. There's others out there as well. Measuring traffic, dwell time, gaze, and all that type of stuff that you can factor into your recall. That's certainly one of them.
full disclosure, we're both on the board of Digital Signage Federation, and we're in a place right now. It's an interesting board. It's all executives that actually work. There's nobody that mails it in. There's nobody saying, "Oh, it's on my resume." So that's the double-edged sword. On one hand, that's not a sword. That's on one hand and the other.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of guys that are fairly high-powered executives that are in this meeting, and they're not agreeing on everything.
Right.
You know, it's like my grandfather used to say, if you agree with everything I say, only one of us is thinking. What are we going to do at Digital Signage, if anything, at the Digital Signage Federation to help promote or educate on some of these things that we're talking about to help the network operators?
Great question. I was talking to the
It was a great question. I asked it.
It was a fair question. How's that? Fair to middling. In fact, I was talking to Bob Stowe, who's the new chairman of the DSF this morning, and he has some really good ideas about that. And I think that one of the things we can do, the overarching concern is we have to make the media buyers and the agencies comfortable with what we do.
Right, absolutely.
And that involves terms of art, glossary, technology, and how we measure things. So if you talk about things like proof of performance, proof of play reporting, compliance reporting, audience metrics, we all have to sing off the same song sheet, and we all have to agree on how it's done, and we have to audit that in some way.
Now, DPAA has spent 3 years developing just that.
Yep.
And I can tell you that the agencies we work with, which is pretty much any agency in healthcare we work with, they seem to be comfortable with the kind of metrics report that DIP has designed. But now now you want to talk technology. We need the technology that provides that data.
That's right.
Are we seeing that here?
I think the capability is there, because you're a part of DPAA as well. That if you look at all the network owners like yourselves who are there, they're using all different platforms. So different people are delivering results in different ways. So we have to get the network operators to comply with standards, and they need to get their vendors to comply with those standards, so that my proof of play or my compliance report is based on the same thing that the other folks are doing out there. And I don't think it's that hard. The data's there.
You say it's not that hard. It's that hard. The data's there, and we're going to find out today and tomorrow who's doing what to compile that data. And I think I like what you were saying. I had the same thing a couple of interviews ago. We use the Digital Signage Federation, I know I should say it all out, the Digital Signage Federation to provide a touch point, that's what the kids would call it. I call it a place to go, where you can see how all this stuff works. We have a board meeting this afternoon. We ought to mention this and see if we can put somebody together.
I know it's going to
he's going to mention it. This has already been a long one. I know that I took up too much time. We'll say goodbye. I'll see you on my next one. You'll see me on my next one. I had all the Ken I can take right now anyway,
Opening day, April 1st.